favorite listeners and viewers, you're welcome back. This is the Ordained Radio TV Gospel Ministry, where we'll bring you the end time news, the undiluted word of God, dynamic praise, trending health fact and gist, talks on love, relationship, and marriage. I am Adenike and my colleague here, Pastor Alfred Jimo.
Thank you very much. Hello out there.
And you're all welcome to End Time Prophetic News Analysis, where we discuss a lot of news, world news that are in line with prophecy fulfilling. And today we are going to analyze another set of news that have been casted earlier. Please, if you missed the news, you can watch through the link in the description below. So we'll dive right into it without much further ado. Now, the first news headline reads: United Nations General Assembly opens as the world convulses in war and contentiousness. So, sir, let's start by asking what is the United Nations General Assembly?
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I greet all our viewers out there and listeners. I thank you for always being there for us, following our news and our programs on this station. I pray that the purpose of this station being put in place, that is to conscientize people to the soon coming of the Lord, the purpose will not elude each and every one of you. Now to Nike's question, the United Nations General Assembly is like the assembly of nations of the world. You know, it's a global assembly where world leaders gather together to discuss issues burning issues of the moment affecting a section of the world or the whole world in general. So the United Nations General Assembly, is that forum where world leaders gather together to discuss and to take resolutions.
Okay. And so, say open up as the world convulses.
Yeah. What the news is trying to say is that this year, and as it has always been, because there is always crisis at one corner of the world or the other. There is always global crisis, either in terms of war, in terms of global warming, in terms of conflict, protests, and all killing, terrorism, and all the things that are plaguing the world, at different corners. So, but what that news is just trying to say that this year's own that opens in September, opens at a time, particularly in the Middle East, where the tension is very, very high, particularly in Ukraine and other flashpoints where there is war and contentions here and there. So that is what that news is trying to say, that again this September 9, the National Assembly, the General Assembly of the United Nations has opened again, and that news went on to analyze and to bring to us how that assembly, how they dealt with the issue of the Israeli-Hamas war that is going on in Gaza, and to also bring to our attention that assembly has now adopted a two-state resolution for the crisis in Gaza, that is recognizing a Palestinian state side by side with Israel, a resolution that Israel has always condemned and rejected. Though also with the United States of America have also always averred that such a resolution cannot stand. And for us in the end time prophetic news here, we want to say that at the risk of being seen as biased, we want to say that Israel will be right to say that the two-nation state of Palestine and Israel will not work, particularly with what Hamas is doing in Gaza, with the Palestinians in Gaza, because Hamas has shown itself as a terrorist organization. And as a terrorist organization, if they continue the control of Palestine side by side, a nation side by side with Israel, it is going to be a disastrous thing for Israel, because they will now be more emboldened to be able to carry out their terrorist attack on Israel. And the world should not forget that what is the motto of Hamas, that is, Israel must not exist. So no nation in the world we allow a group of people that have such a goal to stay side by side with them.
Yes.
That is what Russia is fighting in Ukraine, because Ukraine wanted to belong to the NATO alliance, and and provide a launch pad for NATO to be able to attack Russia. No nation will accept that one. So, but the beauty of that resolution for those who are lovers of Israel is that it is a non-binding, they call it non-binding resolution. Such a resolution passed by the United Nations is not binding, it's non-enforceable. They cannot enforce it. And what more, before any resolution of the United Nations General Assembly can be enforced, it must pass through the Security Council that is comprised of the superpowers of the world. And once one of the superpowers of the world vetoed it, it is as good as dead on arrival. And as soon as this one was passed, United States of America vetoed it, and it is non-enforceable.
Okay, thank you so much for that detailed analysis. So we'll move on to the second news headline, which says, Middle East crisis. A major crack appears on the wall of the Abraham Accord as Israel attacks Qatar.
That's right. Our viewers, we recall that we brought a news on the Abraham Accord recently. And that people were looking at that accord because it was being expanded with more nations, Arab nations, buying into it. Yes. So people were thinking that, okay, with more Israel nation, what is Abraham Accord? It's an accord between Qatar, Jordan, and a few other Arab nations, wherein they agreed that they will not be hostile to Israel, and they will be having trade cooperation, economic cooperation among themselves rather than fighting wars all the time with Israel. So with that, people were thinking that, analysts were thinking that with more Arab nations coming into that accord, then the Middle East peace will be achievable. But suddenly, I think last week or so, Israel decided to attack Qatar. And don't forget that Qatar has been playing a major role in the resolution of the Hamas-Israeli crisis that is ongoing. They have hosted a number of meetings that have led into hostage exchanges and ceasefires in the past, even though the ceasefire broke down at a point. Qatar has been and Egypt has been one of the midwives of those who midwife those peace treaties. But suddenly we heard that Israel attacked Qatar. Although it was not Doha per se that Israel decided to attack, but he traced some individuals who are culpable in what Hamas is doing in Gaza, to Doha, and decided to eliminate them. 6 people were killed in that attack. It was not a sporadic attack. It was a precision bombing of where these people were tracked, and 6 of them were killed, and one of them was the son of the lead negotiator of the Palestinians in Gaza, and one security officer of Qatar. So people now see this attack as something that could bring a crack in that Abraham Accord, because Qatar may have to rethink his support for Israel if Israel can just bomb his capital like that, no matter what the excuse. And the president of Qatar has been condemning it, and the United Nations has also condemned that act of Israel, saying that it is a desecration of the sovereignty of Qatar, because their own land was bombed without, according to them, without a justifiable reason.
Thank you so much, sir. So quickly we'll look at the third news headline, which says 2025 celebration of Rosh Hashanah, a unique and symbolic Jewish tradition.
Yeah, the Rosh Hashanah is a Hebrew word that describes the first day of the new year in the Jewish tradition. And just like the Muslim usually have Hijrah 1480 or something like that, the Jews also used to have their own Rosh Hashanah, and this year's own falls on Rosh Hashanah 5768, if I'm correct. and it serves as something like their new year, and is marked by a return of Israeli immigrants back to Israel, and some other traditional symbolism are attached to it. In celebrating this festival, they blow what they call the shofar, which is the horn, the ram horn. So this year is very symbolic because it's coinciding with the time when United Nations is discussing the fate of Israel at the General Assembly, and there are many over 50 immigrants have migrated back to Israel since October 2023 when the war started. So all of this makes this year's celebration of the Rosh Hashanah to be very symbolic. And not only that, in anticipation of a new Israel, in anticipation of the coming of the Messiah, the rabbis in Israel have decided to use not only one or two shofar to announce it. They are prepared. We heard that they are prepared 100 trained priests and 100 ram horns to be blown at the same time. And when they are blowing it this time around, it's not going to be to the nation Israel alone. They are going to use technology to echo it all over the globe to be able to, for people to hear that a new Israel is about to be birthed. And immigrants are coming back to Israel, Israel, their own land.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
This was an enlightening and well-detailed analysis program. We appreciate you for taking time to actually go out there and get this information. And this information is to you out there to keep you updated with what is going on in the world, especially what's going on in the Middle East, because we know that the Middle East is very vital to us as Christians. It is God's time. Yes, it is God's timepiece. And so we should watch what is going on there, which is why we bring you news from the Middle East
most of the time.
And yes, most of the time. And also to prepare you, stay prepared, stay rapturable, and also stay awake. So this is where we'll be calling it quits, or we'll be drawing the curtain. We are not just stopping here, we are also going back to look for world news that are still happening and bring it back here for your hearing. And so we appreciate you for staying with us this far. We also implore that you follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook and on YouTube at Adenike Radio TV. Share to your friends, share to your families. Let them also subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for staying with us. I've been your host, Ajayi Adenike, and my colleague here, Pastor Alfred Jimo.
Thank you very much. Stay connected with us, and the Lord will continue to bless you.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.